Kawhi's been fascinating. I think Russell Westbrook is a very fascinating career. James Harden, all of them on the Clippers, every single one of them. PG, another one.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of enigmas to me. But
The Harden thing is interesting to me. I always wonder, like, you think about, when I started watching in the 90s, there's like players you watch and you wonder how history views that player later on. And Harden is one of those that kind of strikes me as that, because like the accolades are there, statistics are there, championships are not, the playoff
right.
performances are not. And it's just like, I wonder, like in 15, 20 years, and they think, hey, remember that James Harden guy? Like, how is history going to look back on it? I just I'm curious to see what that's going to be like, because it's
Yeah.
it's an interesting career, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I already see comparisons of like, is he better than Jerry West and Dwayne Wade as a shooting guard? But to me, he's like, well, he's a point. Like now, I think of him as a point guard now. You know what I mean? I think
Mhm.
back in the day,
Yeah.
like people used to look at him as shooting guard, but it's like, I don't even know how to classify him now. When I look back at Harden, I'm going to think point guard, but I don't look at him in the same vein as like Magic Johnson. It's weird. I don't know. I think just new era
Strange.
basketball
Well,
is
he's
just
had
like,
two careers, right? Like
yeah,
he's had the,
Yeah.
the I'm gonna be the scoring option in Houston, where he's more of a shooting guard when they had
yeah,
Westbrook and Chris Paul alongside of him. Then, like with the Sixers and the Clippers, he kind of became more of that offensive
facilitator.
initiator, playmaking
Yeah.
point guard, and that's what I think is so fascinating about him, that he's made that pivot. I think pretty successfully. I mean, you could
Yeah.
take the playoff numbers out of it, I guess, but as the transition speaks in just terms of being competent, he's just
Right.
like, he was able to make that transition, and not a lot of guys can do that,
No.
so I do commend him for that. But people do like to clown on James Harden quite a bit, but so
I
Yeah.
mean, we talked about this on another recording where we're like when we're speaking about Harden, like his highs, especially like during the regular season, are like
mm,
out of this world. But his
yeah.
playoff lows were so like confusing. Like it makes no sense sometimes when some of the numbers he ends up putting up. So it becomes like an enigma, because you expect him to be like at least play the middle ground sometimes, but like he'll be
Yeah.
like critical games and he just disappears. So hopefully that doesn't happen this year. But
What was that, a couple years ago when he was in Philly and he had that one like monster game in the first round, and I was
yeah,
like, finally, right? Like,
he's
he did
here.
it, I like finally did it, and then
Yeah.
like game 7 rolls around or whatever, and same old James,
Same
and I'm
old.
just like, and it's funny. So like my girlfriend, who doesn't really watch NBA that much, she loves James Harden because like she like saw the it was like the fat suit thing, and she just thought it
Yeah.
was like the funniest thing ever. And she's like, yeah, if I he's and I was making a joke, and like he's like the NBA approximation of the quiet quitting idea,
Yeah.
where you're just like, I'm just gonna come and do my bare minimum,
That's what he did. That
whatever.
was literally what he
And
was
that's like,
doing.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
is James Harden the most millennial NBA superstar of all time? Perhaps, and I'm workshopping that as an idea for an article, so we'll see. But but
Like it.
but yeah,
Like
it's just kind of like it's crazy, It's just, he's had such a weird career, and I still think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Obviously the accolades are too strong even without the championships. He's going to be in, but it's just a fascinating career with the trade requests and
Yeah.
the highest of highs with the MVPs and everything, but then the lowest of lows with the terrible playoff games. It's just a fascinating subject. I'm sure some great author is going to write a book about him one day, and it's going to be a must read.
And his name's gonna be Omar.
I wish. Yeah, that'd
Sure.
be nice. Yeah, maybe that's what I need to work on, is my James Harden book. Yeah.